Now coming to the 13th and the most important part which you have been waiting for, money. What's there for me? What will come to my pocket? Hello friends, welcome to IT Ke Fun Day, where we make IT interesting for everyone. I'm Anshul Tiwari, and in this video we will tackle a very common question which has been coming to me, which is related to your career, and that is, sir, I'm confused whether I should go for a DevOps engineer career route or should I take a data engineer career path. Now both are very exciting and booming careers, but in this video we will understand the differences each of these career path has, and I hope by the end of this video, looking into these differences, you will be able to make up your mind which career path would be more aligned to your skills, your strength, and more importantly, your passion. So without further ado, let's get started. So friends, I did some research and I have found 13 key differences which I feel you should be aware of. Now there can be many others, but I think these 13 will definitely give you an understanding of what is expected from each of these career paths. Okay, so let's start with the first difference. What is the first difference? The first difference is of the career focus. The career focus of a DevOps engineer is of building and maintaining the DevOps pipeline, making sure that the code is deployed in production faster, quicker, and then the whole CI/CD pipeline has to be automated without any manual intervention. If you want to learn more about DevOps, again, there are different resources. I have also made videos on DevOps, so you can check it out. The core focus of data engineer, on the other hand, is primarily of building and maintaining data pipelines, ensuring that the data loads, the data integrity, the data quality, everything is intact. And complex data architectures they have to maintain, because for every business there is a different data, there is a different domain which you need to understand. So as a data engineer, while developing those data pipelines, you have to keep all those things in perspective. Now this is a very small view of what it contains. DevOps could take you 6 months to master. Same for data engineering. So just understand the crisp and the gist of it for now. The tools and the skills. Now, when we talk about DevOps, there's a plethora of tools right now in the market which you could learn. But just to name a few, you need to know Linux scripting, Python, you need to know Bash, you need to know infrastructure on cloud, GCP, AWS, Azure. Now, it will be tweaked based on which particular project you are working, but I'm just giving you an overview. CI/CD tools, there are many. You need to understand Git, you need to understand Jenkins, Ansible, Terraform, and Kubernetes, Docker for deployment of your containers. So yes, a very huge tool set is here. But on the other side, in data engineering, I won't say that you would need to know a lot around tools. It is less on tooling, but more on the technology and the knowledge around data. So in tools, you need to understand what is SQL, what is NoSQL databases. You need to understand the SQL basics. If you know PL/SQL, nothing like it. It's really good. You need to understand now Python, Spark, because all the data pipelines are getting automated using programming languages. Previously, 15 years, 20 years, or maybe I would say 10 years in the past, we used to have ETL tools, and people used to just drag and drop and create the pipelines, or you would say ETL pipelines, using the software. But now the developers have started building the pipelines using Python and Spark framework. But still the tools are there. Informatica is there. You need to know data modeling. That's an important thing. You need to understand how you will structure the data as per the requirement. Databases on cloud. So all the databases which you get on cloud, slowly and gradually, as you will learn through your projects, you would understand how to use SQL Server. You would understand how to use BigQuery, Redshift, Synapse database on Azure, all those. And one very important is Snowflake. I have made a video on Snowflake which has been viewed by many. It covers the basics of Snowflake. It's a database as a service, data warehousing as a service provided by this company. Really booming right now. Now coming to the focus, very important point, guys. Coming to the focus, I feel and it is all with a caveat that I feel maybe you might have a different perspective on it, but I feel DevOps is more of a broad kind of a knowledge. You need to know width. You need to know broadly what all things happen throughout a software delivery lifecycle. And for every particular phase, you have different tools and technologies which you have to know. But then you would only master a few of those, but you need to know broadly every other technology as well. Wherein in data, you need to have deep knowledge. There are no so many tools which you have to understand. If you know SQL very well, if you are very good with PL/SQL, if you are very good with building and creating data models and creating data pipelines, then there are tools which you could master very quickly. So from that perspective, understanding of data is way more important than understanding of tools and technologies. Those comes later in data engineering. Understanding the data, because data would continue to vary. Right now you are working for a sales department, data is different. Tomorrow you will go for a manufacturing department, data is different. You might switch the industry, you might go from a retail company to a media company, data is different. So the data domain has to be understood by a data engineer very, very quickly, where the functional knowledge is also key. Okay, so what are some career paths from where generally the switch happens to DevOps engineer? Basically, it often comes from software engineering and system admin background. So generally the software engineers who have been developing the code for a long time and want to move to the next level, they prefer to go into a DevOps career track. And again, with the system admin, because they are already aware of Linux, they are already aware of how to maintain the infrastructure, they find DevOps very interesting. Because while they might be weaker on the dev side of it, they're very strong on the ops side of it. So what they can do is they try to work on the dev side, but they have the strength on the operation side, and that's why system admins also prefer to come to DevOps engineer career path. Now these are couple, but there could be many others. I'm just giving you some view of what I think are the key differences here. Career switch for data engineers generally come from data-driven roles, which is very obvious. Data analyst, business analyst, BI developer, data operations, DBAs, all these kind of people who have been in touch with data, they have this opportunity to get into data engineering, with a caveat that now if you want to become a data engineer, gone were the days where programming knowledge was optional. Now it is important for you to at least have basic understanding of, you don't need to know object oriented programming, for example. If you can understand, okay, these are the libraries, these are the modules I have to use, this is how I build a data pipeline in Python using data frames, using Panda library, then you can start. It's not rocket science, because you are not building a full stack application, right? You need not to be that level of a coder, but you need to know enough to build your data pipelines, and with time you will obviously learn. Knowledge wise, for DevOps you need holistic IT knowledge, because a DevOps pipeline touches every aspect of an IT industry. Okay, starting from your development, so you need to understand how the developers are developing code using VS Code, then how they are pushing it on Git, from GitHub repository, how that will be pulled by Jenkins, then the data pipeline, then your Docker and Kubernetes has to be learned. So there are many, Ansible for configuration management, Terraform for infrastructure as a code. So basically you need to know everything in IT, and that's why I think broader knowledge is more important here. And yes, IT infrastructure, as I have already said, that will be important. From here, as we have already discussed, deep knowledge in data warehousing is very important for data engineers. ETL and ELT knowledge, extract, transform and load. ELT is extract, load and transform. ELT now we are using in data lakes concept. I have created a separate video on data pipeline. Watch it, it will clear a lot of concepts for you. Again, data modeling, data lakes, batch and real-time data, how you create different pipelines, how you use Lambda architecture to combine the best of both the worlds, real-time data, batch data. So all that knowledge is very deep, and as you start to learn it, you will become more proficient in data engineering side. Collaborations. Now collaborations means who all are the teams or people with whom a data engineer or a DevOps engineer work with. So for DevOps engineer, Software developers, SRE, which is site reliability engineering. If you don't know, again, there's a video for site reliability engineering, go watch it. IT ops teams, these are the teams generally with which the collaboration happens. Again, I'm not putting agile, scrum master, all those things are natural. You have to connect with your scrum master, you might have to connect with the product owner, all that I have skipped, but you need to collaborate with them as well. Data scientist, business analyst, stakeholders are very important for data engineers, because data is generally consumed by the senior stakeholders. Visualization team, who are building reports and dashboards on Power BI, business objects, Tableau. Data operations team, who are looking into the data infrastructure. All those kind of teams generally data engineers collaborate with. Coming to the seventh difference and the key challenge, what I think is that for DevOps engineers, the key challenge is to keep your DevOps pipeline ready and to be able to deploy any change in code into production, into the working code in production in seconds. That's what is the key challenge or key goal of a DevOps team is. And obviously throughout that pipeline, if there are any bugs, there are any vulnerabilities, DevOps teams or DevOps engineers have to fix those. Whereas in here, I think the speed does matter, but more than that, the consistency and reliability of data matters most. Because you understand this, guys, that data, if you get faster data, but the data is incorrect, it is more dangerous, okay? That's why people prefer to have accuracy, reliability and security first, and speed then comes. Again, speed is an important parameter. Faster data loads are important. Now with AI, ML use cases, we need faster analytics as well. But again, the bottom line is data consistency, data reliability, data integrity and data security. These four I feel are more important than data performance. It's an important thing, but again, this is what I feel. So we are done with the 7. Sorry guys, the board is small, differences are huge. No, I'm kidding. 7 differences done. Now let's look at 4 remaining differences, which will complete whole 13 list of differences. So let's start with the difference number 8. So guys, let's now cover the remaining 4 differences. I think we covered 7 there, and now we have remaining, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, 6 differences we have. 6 differences remaining, and watch it till the end, because in the end we'll talk about the most important 13th difference, which is the salary, which I have collated from different sources. So watch till the end. So the difference number 8 is demand. So basically DevOps engineers demand is booming a lot in tech startups, and that's why in India, because India is now becoming a hot soil for new startups, new technology startups, there's a lot of demand for DevOps engineers, because obviously you need to, what you need to do in a startup, you need to build a prototype, you need to quickly test it, validate it, launch it in the market, test how it is working, what is the customer feedback, and all that cannot happen if you do not have a reliable, fast DevOps pipeline. So that's what where the actual demand is, but this is just a summary. DevOps is needed everywhere now, but here it has the maximum demand, wherein for data engineers the demand is predominantly in industries which are very primarily data driven and which are dealing with vast amount of data. For example, Facebook, for example, Twitter, all these kind of companies, Amazon, all these companies thrive on customers' data, and their the need for data engineers would be way more than any traditional company. And for example, suppose you have opened your own company, a tech startup, okay? I think you would be more focused on delivering softwares using DevOps than creating and building insights and analyzing the data, doing AI, ML right at the beginning, because for all that you need historical data to draw insights, right? And for that you need some time in the market, and that's why here DevOps wins the race when it comes to startup culture. Now the 9th and a very important point, which is the learning curve. Now the learning curve of a DevOps engineer is easier, again this is my understanding, compared to a data engineer. Here you can have a very quick hands-on exercise. You can very quickly build and deploy a DevOps pipeline, There are numerous tutorials. If you go online, you will also find numerous courses. Various people are offering DevOps courses for 6 months, for 3 months. They will teach you everything for building DevOps pipeline. You will build the code, you will deploy it, everything you will do very quickly. And the fruits of labor, whatever you are doing, you will be very excited about doing it because you will see the results very quickly. And you will see that, okay, the moment we push the code into Git, automatically the pipeline got triggered, the build was triggered, then it was executed, then it was deployed into a Docker container, it got deployed into Kubernetes, all that kind of thing you will see happening, and that will, that will be very interesting. Wherein when it comes to data engineering, the learning curve is steeper because you need to work on specific good data projects. As I said, data varies from one place to another place, from one department to another department. Okay, and that's why in order to call yourself a true data engineer, you need specific different projects. Now you will have training courses and you have websites which offer these kind of trainings, but I honestly feel that in order to truly understand what is data engineering, you need to have live projects in a company. And I cannot recall any good data engineering certification or program yet. There are cloud certifications who provide you data engineering certifications. Yes, there are. But again, compared to DevOps, I think the learning curve is steeper and the longer time and labor is needed for actual fruits to be seen. That's what I feel for data engineering. You need to give yourself time to see tangible results, but understand this very key difference. While you can become a DevOps engineer very quickly, you have to be on your toes all the time, because every new day a tool is coming, every new day something is happening and all. So you can never be relaxed of sorts. Wherein in here, if you have built your core competency around data, if you have worked on certain tools, more or less the work would revolve around your core data knowledge and how you work in data. Okay, so that's why while you might take longer time to get to that level, once you at that level, you would be at a much easier or a calmer place compared to a DevOps engineer. Again, all my experience, all my research, feel free to negate it, feel free to say that no, you feel differently, and mention it in the comments. I'm all open for any objections. It's fair, right? Because I'm just sharing whatever I know, whatever I feel, and you're not obliged to agree or disagree. Whatever you want, you can do it. But I feel that this will take more time compared to DevOps. Again, then another thing which you have to consider before choosing a path is what exactly you like, because in a DevOps kind of a role, you will need to do a lot of troubleshooting. You need to be in love with variety. You need to be in love with the width of things. You need to be passionate about the macro view of everything which is happening. Are you that kind of person? Because some people like variety, but some people get exhausted if they have to continuously switch from one tool to another, from this to that, right? So you have to understand what kind of personality you have, and based on that you have to take a call. In data, you need to understand the data challenges, how you would collect the data, process, transform or store the data. And it is more detail oriented. You have to go into the depth of what are the needs of the business, how you would create the data pipelines and all. So while you might not have to deal with the macro, you have to deal with the micro view, and then the variety part will only come on the data side of it. You don't have to learn so many tools at one time. You don't need to. You need to just focus on, I have seen data engineers who just have very good understanding of SQL, and rest all revolves around that core knowledge. Okay. Visibility, very important point, and I think this is where data engineers are a bit ahead of DevOps, because DevOps engineers always work at the back end of things, right? So for example, a CEO or a CXO or your senior stakeholders might not be in a direct touch of a DevOps engineer. Yes, your Scrum Master would be, your product owner would be, for sure. But here with data engineering, the visibility goes a level above, because you are dealing with the CEOs and CXOs data. For example, you are responsible for loading the data for a sales dashboard, which shows how much sales we have done for every quarter in particular region, in particular geography, what was the actual, what was the forecasted, what was the target, and whether we have met the target. We are this, the boardroom is sitting to analyze that data and see the performance of the company. You tell me, data engineer would be closer or not? Data engineer would definitely be closer to the senior stakeholders. And more than that, the developers, the Power BI and Tableau developers who develop those reports, they will be for even more closer, which gives you a lot of visibility. But I would not say it is a downside. Okay, every role has its ups and downs. So I think this is where data engineers have a slight edge. And here on the 12th point, DevOps engineers have a big edge, because they don't need to worry about data engineering. They can give a damn about data engineering. They are not at all required to understand data engineering. If they want to, they can. Okay, but as far as they know DevOps, they are sorted. But for data engineers, now the journey is different. They have to, it is required and mandatory for them to understand DevOps, because now we are moving into data ops. Data ops is like DevOps. So if you want to learn about data ops, let me know in the comments and I'll try to make a video on the same. So now all the data deliveries are delivering as data products, okay, and it is being treated, data is being treated as a product. And in order to deliver a product efficiently, you need a pipeline. And that's what is being done using data ops, where you will need certain aspects of DevOps knowledge. So it is required. So yeah, we are done with all the 12, and now coming to the 13th and the most important part which you have been waiting for, money. What's there for me? What will come to my pocket, right? Okay, so this data I am going to share with you, but with a caveat. It is highly variable. Okay, wherever I have done the research, the numbers keeps on varying, and when you will finally get a package, it will depend on numerous different situations. Okay, your previous package, which company you are joining, the need of that particular company, your current knowledge, how your interview went, how well you negotiated with the HR, all that boils down to that particular package which you get. Okay, so don't get fixated on these numbers, but these numbers are just average numbers which I have collected from certain websites like PayScale and Glassdoor. So yeah, let's discuss those numbers now. Okay guys, so coming to the final difference, which is the salary, I would say it is not at all a difference, because it is such a neck-to-neck competition that salaries are almost equivalent. But if you have to make someone a winner, then data engineers get slightly more than DevOps engineers. But you see the numbers and you would yourself say that the difference is not huge. And by the way, all these numbers have been collected, so it will change, it might be wrong at certain places. So don't quote me on this. In US, the average salary of a DevOps engineer varies from $80,000 to $200,000. The K stands for 1,000. Okay. In UK, it is from 50,000 pounds to 80,000 pounds, and in India, it varies from 4 lakhs to 15 lakhs. Now, compared to data engineers, US salary is from $90,000 to $220,000. Not much difference. Okay, 55,000 pounds in UK to 90,000 pounds, and in India it is 5 lakhs to 20 lakhs. So basically, you can see that the difference is not huge, and that's why it is such a these two roles are so closely fought and always in demand. So friends, I hope you now understand the difference between a DevOps engineer career path and a data engineer career path, and what is the difference between the two. And by looking into these 13 differences, you might be in a better position now to understand which career path is for you. So with that said, I really hope that this video added some value to your knowledge. If it did, I would request you to put a like button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, put your comments, how you liked this video, what you would want to view next on the channel. And until next time guys, keep learning, keep sharing all your knowledge, and yes, keep hustling. Bye for now.